Were you told you were shy? Do you identify as shy? Do you hate that word now? Do you just wish you could get over it and get on with your life? Welcome to Shining Beyond Shy, empowering you to create a greater life than you ever thought was possible. With your Shining Beyond Shy host, Fiona Cups. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Shining Beyond Shy. So I'm your host, Fiona Cuts, and I am broadcasting from Egypt again. So I'm actually by the seaside in a rather crazy place. And I'm going to call this episode Being Willing to Do What It Takes. So and I will say a little bit about where I am, having started, but I realized I wanted to introduce the subject too. So I've ended up, I'm going to be flying to Turkey to see my beautiful friend Aylin and to facilitate some classes in Antalya. And I realized, I can fly from, I don't have to fly from Cairo. I can notice how I've got the pronunciation of Cairo. Well done me. And so I'm going to fly from Hurghada, which is basically a package holiday resort. So I'm in this little chalet in this tourist village, which really makes me laugh. And maybe another episode we'll talk more about that. But I wanted to talk about something that came up for me on my journey towards Hurghada and my experience here in Egypt over the last few days. So So shy people and being willing to do what it takes. So it's the case for anyone. It's like you don't have to be shy to have lots of excuses for not being willing to do what it takes to create what you'd like to create in the world. And so for us, in terms of this podcast, let's talk about shyness. For other people, it can be all kinds of things that stop them from doing what it takes to create what they desire. But shyness is the perfect excuse. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly be on that radio show to forward my career or to forward what I would like in my life. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly go for that promotion. To be honest, I've done as much as I didn't think I could get as far as I have now. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly start my own business. I'm way too shy for that. Oh, no, you get the picture. And so let's just do this. Everything me talking about this so directly brings up in your worlds. Truth will you destroy and uncreate it. And I'm just going to use the clearing statement so that you can let go of all the stuff that comes up when I talk about this. So right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And that clearing statement, if you haven't heard it before, is like a magic tool for releasing all the places where we're stuck. It's the most amazing move forward in self-development ever. And if you'd like to know more about it to satisfy your cognitive mind, you can go to theclearingstatement.com, very simple. And you will see a handsome, gorgeous man, Dr. Jane here, talking about the clearing statement, and you can also read about it. But for now, I'll just carry on using it. So, yeah, here's how it's been for me, which led me to this podcast theme. So basically, I was in Luxor, and I just loved being in Luxor. They describe it as an open-air museum. And I stayed there for about 10 days. And part of the reason for that was that I was in a really beautiful apartment, really spacious, where I could get on with my work, but I could also pop out and see a monument, pop out and have a cup of tea with a handsome Egyptian man or 10. And then I got I could have spent the whole winter in Luxor in this place. I just loved it. And I realized, that's not quite the energy of where my life is at the moment. So I went to Cairo thinking that I was going to fly to Europe. And actually, what became apparent was that I was going to come to Turkey and do these classes and see my friend and just laugh and relax over Christmas. I mean, not that I haven't been laughing and relaxing, but that was what was really popping rather than flying to Egypt. So I chose to come down to Hurghada for a few days. And this is like a big resort town, I guess, on the coast. I mean, it's massive. It seems to go, it's like the area they call Hurghada isn't just the city of Hurghada. It's actually about 30 miles up and down the coast. And so basically I arrived in this place and the bedroom was right over a main road. And I was like, at 9 o'clock at night, I realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to stay here. It's like, it's always an okay apartment. I mean, compared to where I am now, it's nothing like as nice. But it was an okay apartment, but it was felt like it was, but when I woke up in the morning, like 7:30 in the morning, there's all this sound of construction. And it's one of those places where they're just building new stuff all the time. I was like, no way, I'm not going to stay here. So negotiated with the owner and could not find the place that I was looking for, could not find somewhere where I thought I was going to be comfortable. And basically ended up in another really bad apartment not very far away. And because I didn't realize the location when I booked it, or I wouldn't have booked it. And when the location came through, I booked it on Airbnb. And when the location came through, I was like, oh God. And then I was like, who knows, it may be okay. It may be okay. But I was like, it's only 2 minutes by taxi, 5 minutes to walk. So what I'll do is I'll take some of my bags around there, check in, and then I'll take the rest. So I took some of my bags around, checked in, and this place was awful. I kind of knew that I couldn't stay there, but I needed to get out of my old place. And so then I basically had a big but light bag and a suitcase. I was like, yeah, I can do that. But even in this resort town, Hurghada, when you step out of the door, it's like you pretty much step into the desert. It's like the roads are sandy and full of, full of stones. And it's not the ideal place to be schlepping along with your suitcase. So of course, this being Egypt, I didn't have to schlep on my own. Let me just go back a bit. So there was this moment where I was like, okay, here I am, going from one, I mean, the first apartment wasn't grotty, to be honest, but it was loud and the owner was a bit, I mean, the owner basically said to me, don't write a bad review, will you? It's like this construction isn't normally going on. And so the thing is, there were probably about 10 construction sites in the vicinity, so he's just lying. And, but anyway, the first one wasn't grotty, but it was like, it was kind of, it just wasn't in a nice area. And the second one was grotty and not in a nice area. And there I was it wasn't that hot, but it was hot enough, schlepping along with my suitcase and kind of probably ruining my suitcase on, the wheels. And I was like, oh my God, is this really my life? Is this really my life? Is this really what I want in my life? And it wasn't like I was depressed or sad. And there wasn't actually any judgment of me. I was just like, okay, here I am. This is my life. Is this really what I'd like? What else is possible? And at this point, of course, a handsome man came along and helped me with my suitcase, which was great. He just picked it up. And I mean, in Cairo, somebody would want to be paid for that. Actually, in this place, Hurghada, he just did it because I think he found it strange that I would be doing that. I mean, Hurghada is full of sort of package tourists who probably don't end up in crazy situations like I end up in. And I think he was like, you shouldn't have to do that. And I was like, no, you're right. I shouldn't have to do this. This is not the energy of my life. And so it was really interesting. I went, I mean, I knew I couldn't stay in the apartment, and I know how difficult it is to cancel Airbnb. And I was like, well, in a way, there's nothing to cancel for. It's just a grotty place. It's like she hasn't misrepresented anything. There are many people who are happy to stay here, and maybe me, like when I was 20, I would have been happy to stay here. Who knows? So I didn't feel like canceling or trying to say that they said something wrong. So I and I had a meeting with a friend. So I took myself off to the Sheraton Hotel, had a nice cup of coffee and sat chatting to my friend. And then once my meeting was over, I looked on my phone and suddenly this place that I'm now in popped out at me and it was like, come and stay with me, come and stay with me. You'll like it here, you'll like it here. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I didn't have the clarity that, I mean, this place existed like 3 days ago. I could have booked it from Cairo, but I didn't see it. And I realized that was because I wasn't being me. I wasn't willing to have the energy of my life. And in terms of doing what it takes, I was like, okay, this place that I'm in now costs more. And I was like, this is actually the energy of my life. The energy of my life is not trying to save money and schlep around suitcases and get by. The energy of my life is actually staying in a beautiful space. I mean, literally within a few minutes of arriving here, my body totally relaxed, staying in a beautiful space and choosing to do what it takes to actualize the money that's required to live this lifestyle that I actually choose to be living. I was like, wow, it was only when, and that actually is me. In order to get to that space where I'm like, I'm willing to choose the lifestyle that I'd like to be living, and the money to actually be able to have my body relax in these beautiful places. And in fact, I mean, I had a facilitation session with somebody who actually said to me, if you don't change some of these things, Fiona, and my body's moving to say yes, if you don't change some of your things and these things, the next thing is that your body's going to get ill. So here's the thing. So here's me saying, oh, okay, I require to be actualizing more money to have this lifestyle. And it's like my body is like, yes, please. So here's the thing, how can we do that? Well, I'm actually having a conversation with my body. Hey, if you would like to have more of this lifestyle, more of this luxury, more of this yum with total ease, joy and glory, hey, will you please contribute to actualizing this money? And my body is like, yeah, of course I will, of course. My body doesn't want to be my body was made for luxury. And just ask, most likely, even if like me years ago, you would never have seen it like that. Well, to be honest, when I was younger, I did see it like that. And I actualized a load of money and had an amazing lifestyle in the corporate, in the corporate world. And then I went through a kind of a hippie. Well, then when I got ill in the corporate world, I went through this phase of thinking, well, it's more important to be well than to have money. But it doesn't not have to be an either or universe. So anywhere you may be going into, I can either be well and healthy and happy, or I can have money. Will you destroy and uncreate that either or universe? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all angels, boys and beyonds. What if we can have it all? And it's funny, I had a cup of tea with an Egyptian man last night in this new place where I'm staying. And I was just joking with him, oh, I'm a millionaire. And by the way, I am asking to be a millionaire. But I was joking with him and he just couldn't get it. He was like, but isn't your health more important? And I was like, no, it's not about that. You can have it all. And you could see that he, although he's saying, and that's the line that they give tourists, well, health is more important. I'm not about money, but please buy my tacky pyramid and please buy this and please buy that. I mean, he actually had some nice stuff too. But that's the line that they think tourists want to hear and the line that they're telling themselves. Actually, he was really intrigued. How can you be healthy, happy, and wealthy? And yeah, show us, universe, show us. Or I'm going to say, show me. And if you would like that, then let's change that to show us. We're willing to do what it takes. And again, let's change that to me. I'm willing to do what it takes. I really realize I'm fed up with this thing of not finding the place to stay that suits me, getting caught up in crazy trauma and drama rather than creating my life. I'm like, no, I am choosing something different now. I love this traveling lifestyle. I love not really being sure where I'm going to be in, say, 2 months' time. Sometimes I don't even know where I'm going to be in 2 days' time. I love all of that. but that can go together with keeping, well, with, it's like it doesn't have to be that because I don't know physically where I'm going to be, that I don't create the energy of my life, that I don't actualize the money that's required to be living the life that I desire to be living. So are you willing to do what it takes to have what you desire to have in your life? And if yes, then ask. So I've given you some questions you can ask to get there, and it can be as simple as, universe, show me the energy of my life. What would it take for me to be willing to do what it takes? It can be that simple, and some of the other things that I've said during this episode. But also just notice the energy that I am being. And this is actually how you'll get there, by being the energy that will actualize that. And so if you notice this kind of demand that I have in my world, and also this trust that I have of me, oh yeah, I may have fucked up many things. I may have done this, I may have done that. And you know what? I'm not going to judge myself for this. And I'm moving forward, and I'm going to do what it takes to actualize what I desire to have in my life. And if you get that you're at that point, just ask for this energy that I'm being in your own way. So anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, hot and pock, all 9 shorts, voids and beyonds. And in the meantime, I'll carry on enjoying this rather bizarre place I'm in. So I'm in this really, really quiet, chalet they call it. And it's just one of those places that's really, really nurturing. And then I can go to a swimming pool, to the sea, and can sit in my little garden, and it's pretty quiet. But I can also, I just went into the sort of tourist land hotel and had this amazing buffet breakfast. And it's like, yeah, I would not like to be in a hotel, or I would not like to fly from England, or a lot of people think I'm Russian, wouldn't like to fly from Russia to be part of the package hotel land. But I'm quite happy being in my chalet and kind of spying on them and chatting to the waiters and just enjoying being here. So I wish you a great week. I will most likely be broadcasting from Antalya, Turkey next week. So until then, goodbye. And if you have liked this, then please like it. This is not rocket science. And if you liked it, please share it. Please let your friends know about it. Who could benefit from this? Who else would like to be living the life they'd actually like to be living and choosing to just go for it? Share it with anybody you know who this can contribute to. Okay, beautiful people, until next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm so grateful for you. It would be great if you could subscribe, great if you could leave a review wherever you're listening. And if you'd like some quick, simple tips to overcome shyness wherever you are, please go to my website, fionacuts.com, where you can download my free product, 5 Steps to Overcoming Shyness Wherever You Are. Thank you again, and see you next time.